All right. Welcome, 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 everybody, to our Wow Wednesday. This is our testimonial, our weekly testimonial call. This call is designed for those of you on the call to either unmute yourself, share your testimonials on anything that this company offers. Um, and it can be on anything. It can be on the supplements. It can be on any of the tools that you see listed. I don't have everything pictured because we're growing so rapidly, but that's a good sign. And I am going to say a disclaimer, RAO technology or any of the devices that we use within this company are not medical devices. They are there for educational purposes only. They're there to help you educate yourself about your body so that you know what to do with your health. So if you are sick and if you're having any type of issues, please reach out to your healthcare provider or your physician. And that is it on the disclaimer. Dr. Sheila, would you like to say anything?
Yes, I would like to say welcome everyone tonight, and we greatly appreciate you taking time out of your night to join us today because we've been doing this call every week since January, and we learn something every single week, if not a dozen things. This call is just so important. You may not realize how much value you have to share with something that may seem really simple to you, but it could be very profound for someone else. So please do not hesitate to share the smallest things. And maybe somebody will say something that will say, "Oh, I do have something." Please share it. You just don't know who needs to hear what you have to say. And I'll reinforce what Tammy's saying. We have got to be careful with our language. The people that we're talking to, our team members, we need to be very careful with how we're speaking because we do not want to lose access to this technology. We are not interested in going through the hoops of creating medical devices. We want information technology. So please be very careful with your conversations.
Thank you so much. And to go a little bit further, if you are new here and you got invited, please reach out to the person that invited you here and follow up with them. If you came in through the group, please feel free to reach out to, again, the person that invited you to the group. And if you're new here and maybe someone just told you about the call, feel free to reach out to somebody that is a QLA. We will be happy to help you. And most of the people here are quantum living advocates, which is basically a fancy term for those that promote this company and everything it has to offer. So we welcome you, and we welcome you to bring your prospects on or people that are interested in learning about this technology and all that our company has to offer in the wellness industry. So this is a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to learn about our products and the different things that it's doing for so many people. And the way we handle this call is if you have something to share, just unmute yourself and feel free to share. So at this time, I'm going to open it up and just let you unmute. Raise your hand if you want. Don't be shy. We're all friends here. And just go ahead and share. And Carolyn, go right ahead. I see your hand.
Thank you. And this is not a testimonial, it's a question. So every time I post on Facebook, do I have to put that disclaimer on?
I think it would be best if we did. Even
Okay.
if we make graphics, if you want to really put it in a tiny, it just has to be on there.
Okay.
I
I only have been I went back through all my posts and added that. But if I'm just talking about in general, like frequencies, I don't add it. It's only when I'm talking about the AO scan. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I learned something from this every week. I think it's wonderful. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for sharing. And thank you for that question. And if anybody needs any help with that disclaimer, feel free to reach out to any, Dr. Sheila, myself. We'll be happy to. And I'll put the disclaimer in the Wow Wednesday chat too, so that you guys can see that and utilize it. I mean, I'm gonna make it an effort to do it on all my correspondence. Anything I post about the Solex or any of the products at all, I'll always have that disclaimer. And if somebody sees it, I don't have it on there, feel free to reach out to me and remind me, hey, you forgot. So, all right. Would anybody like to share a testimonial? If so, just unmute and share. We'd love to hear it. Go ahead, Carol.
You better speak up, girl.
Yes.
You have to unmute first, though.
Yeah, unmute yourself. I am so excited.
Okay, Tammy and Sheila already know this. Back in 2014, my husband was diagnosed with a very rare form of melanoma. We were able to address it very quickly and got it, and we were told, got everything, we're good. So we did keep doing, at first it was every 3 months, and then we progressed every 6. This past summer, when we were almost at 10 years, so almost made it to the 10-year mark, with anyone with cancer knows that's a big woohoo. And he had a lymph node in his groin that was very enlarged. So I'm going to back you up now for a second. I am classically trained as a nurse. My husband is a physician, and God has been working in my life. And for some reason, I don't know why, I got drawn to natural health, and I proceeded to go back to school. And my first year, I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? These people are absolutely woo-woo. It just didn't make sense. How could they believe that? And towards the end of my first year, things started to go, well, wait a minute. That does make sense. Well, wait. And so then I got really curious, and I finished out my program. I've been watching, that's where I met Sheila. And I've been watching Sheila for a long time. And as she's gone through different things, it's like, yeah, that sounds interesting. Nah, that sounds interesting. When she started talking about Solex, it was like someone shoved me in the back and said, go, it's time. And so I just called her and said, okay, I want it. I didn't get a 3-day pass. I didn't try it out. It was just, hi, Sheila, would you please sign me up? I need this. Didn't know why. So I get it. Now, remember, my husband is a classically trained doctor. So he's straddling the fence now, but he was very much on the other side of that fence. I'd crossed over. I'm over in the funny farm. But he's slowly going, what do you have that could help me with? So he's slowly realizing it does work. So I introduced him to the AO scan, and he'd do it periodically, whatnot. So as I get the scanner, we have March Day of Discovery. And I go up there and I meet the most amazing people. Just, this team is fabulous. And while I'm there, I hear little conversations about this other company, and it's a supplement company. And I'm like, And other ladies that I respect were moving towards this company. So just went in the back of my head. So I sign up with this other company also. It's not an MLM, it's just a supply house that I have access to. And then the summer comes and we find out that he has a return of the cancer, and we are now stage 4 of metastatic melanoma. The company that I heard about has a cancer protocol. We started on that cancer protocol. He starts doing inner voice 3 times a day. And as any of you know, when it's you or your family, your brain just kind of goes, what do I do? What do I do? So I have all this knowledge, but I was just like, okay, he's done a scan. What do I do? How do I read it? How do I pull everything together? Okay, there's a course, but I don't have time to take that course. I've got to do this now. So I went back through each time he did it, and I pulled the 4 inner voices. And I looked at the chakras that were out of balance, because I love the way Lauren described them, that our chakras are the fuse box to the house. And our meridians are the electrical cables going to the outlets and the switches. So I knew if those weren't working, he wasn't getting the energy he needed to heal. And so I would run the frequencies to help balance his chakras and to help work his meridians. That's all I did. And then come lunchtime, he'd do it again. I'd change and I'd broadcast those until the next scan. The day we got the report, we were on the phone with this other company and it just popped up that they had this cancer protocol. So we ordered that. My representative called the day Tammy walked into my house. She was coming for an unplanned visit. So she overheard that we had just been diagnosed. She was so supportive. She gave us, can't look at you, Tammy. She gave us feedback. She reached out to people she knew. She gave us hope. She gave us ideas. She continued on with her journey where they were already going. She called me and said, hey, it just so happened at this place that I'm at that they have blah, blah, blah that's good for melanoma. That started our search. So we used the scanner. We used this other company with supplements. And then we came out for Day of Discovery. We're just doing a trip, trying to make memories. We go by the corporate office. Kai comes out of his office, spends 45 minutes just visiting with us. We walk down and Lauren's there. He pulls us into his office and he talks with us about what's going on. 45 minutes, this man, 2 days before their biggest conference, he gives us 45 minutes of his time. And then he walks us down to Quantum Wellness and he tells the manager there, I want Ken to have this, and this, make it happen. We had so many treatments while we were there. We were blessed. We got the mat in September when we left Day of Discovery. Ken got on that mat minimum 2 times a day, if not 3 times a day, still doing the AO scan. The scan, he's imprinting the homeopathics that come up. He's taking homeopathics. He gets a follow-up PET scan on November 30th. We go to the doctor on December 1st. The doctor walks in. Now, mind you, he's also been doing allopathic care. He's been doing some immunotherapy. The doctor walks in and says, I've never seen results like this. Your husband is now no evidence of disease. So if you ever question if this device can help support your body to do what it is designed to do, I will stand here and tell you that if you are willing and open, this device can assist your body to do what it wants to do. We are beautifully made.
Amen. Amen. Praise God and thank you, Solex.
Yes. It's
So
incredible.
if you wonder why I was pushed or shoved, I know why. God was setting the path. He knew what I needed for. I even knew the challenge was there. And he set everything up so that we were taken care of.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Carol. It's been killing me.
I won't forget the other day when she called and she goes, are you sitting down? I'm like, oh, God. And I thought, no, don't go there. What you got, Carol? And she told me. I was like, oh my God, yes. I just went around the house screaming and yelling. So it's just incredible what this can do for you. And if you just do what it educates you to do, make those changes, fill in the gaps where there are gaps, and do that inner voice work and the mind sync now.
Boy,
I didn't need to connect the dots. I didn't need to understand.
Nope.
I didn't need anything. It was just pick, scan, send the frequencies, constant frequencies to help support and align.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing that point up, because that's one place people get stuck. They think they have to be some kind of rocket scientist and understand this stuff before they're using it or sharing it, and you do not. Lauren has made sure that it is so advanced and so easy. Just run the scans, look at your inner voice reports. I'm in the middle of Carolyn Miss's energy anatomy right now, and this is what I heard this morning. She was a medical mysticist, a medical intuitive. She was amazing. She's good friends with my friend Dr. Norman Shealy. And she talks about her journey as God was calling her to this, and how everything comes back to energy. And like you pointed out with the fuses and the electrical lines, if those are not functioning properly, the body cannot heal. And emotions can often keep that energy from moving. And every diagnosis like that has an emotional component. So just doing that inner voice, if people would just do inner voice every day, and now mind sync too, and let the system optimize you through vitals and comprehensive, when you run the easy scan, you have so much healing potential with what's being given to your body, your mind, and your spirit to do the work it's programmed to do. You don't have to know it, you don't have to understand it. So thank you for bringing that point up. And everyone, please understand that is how simple this is for you to have huge benefits.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking, I meet with a friend on Tuesdays. She's a QLA too. And we were talking about how we actually had a lady that approached me because she saw my car and my sticker on my car and my license tag. She said, "Is that your car?" And we got into a conversation with her. And because it was a technical device or a cell phone, she's like, "Oh God, I hate technology." And I'm like, yeah, I understand it, but this is literally a click of a button. That's all you have, just a few clicks of a button. That's all you've got to do. You don't have to read anything, you don't have to look at anything. Just scan and optimize and do that multiple times a day, because you're just giving your body the frequencies that are lacking. So that's all you have to do. Don't get caught up in the details of, oh God, how do I read the scan? What do I make of it? Don't worry about that. Just do the work, and it will pay off if you'll just give it some time. All right. Anybody else like to share?
I'll jump on real quick.
Hi,
Um,
Tony.
Hello. So I have been dealing with heel and left knee issues. If you're following me on Facebook, you've been watching this journey. Um, my new QLA joined last week on this call. I had lunch with her today, and she's like, "I cannot believe how much better I'm feeling." And we had a little networking with other networkers. So we had a little lunch with them, and we were sharing different stories. And um, we started talking about when we were younger, like we thought we were raised really, really well, but we start realizing, oh, maybe I held on to that because this is what I told myself. And one of these people that we were with have no idea what we're talking about. Um, and I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And she's like, this is interesting. A friend of mine, she was feeling major anxiety. She went to the ER on Sunday night. I have ran a scan for her one time at her office. And she texts me and she's like, I really need to talk to you. I need you to run the scan. And what is today? Wednesday. So I ran it Monday night for her, sent her all of the vitals, sent her the inner voice, did all that stuff. She calls me last night and she's like, oh my gosh, I have to tell you, this is completely different from the first time that you ran me at my store. I actually had a headset on with bass, and to feel that, I felt it enter my belly button and go into my stomach, and it started dispersing itself. And she was having chest pains, and she has a pacemaker and stuff in. And she's like, I've never felt so calm in like 4 days. And she's like, I just feel that my blood is flowing better. And I'm like, girl, I sent you that report last night. And she's like, what? She goes, I didn't even look at any reports. I slept better last night than I have in the last 4 days. I have no idea how much to tell you this. And I'm like, oh, you're becoming voodoo like me. That's what you're doing. And she's like, it's amazing. This is just so awesome. Like, she was freaking out. I saw her again today. And she's like, I just cannot believe the power and the energy and feeling it, the source going through my body. And I'm like, girl, that's the blessing of this. Like, you have no idea. And so she was like, I have the goosebumps. And I'm like, so do I. Like, this is so crazy. And this is so awesome. Back to my knee and my heel issue. So I've been scanning and I wasn't finding anything on the scanner. And I'm like, what the heck? So I finally did the easy scan last night at like 1 o'clock in the morning. What comes up? My heel and my knee, and it shows the muscle that goes up. So today I finally went to my chiropractor neurologist. He's voodoo like we are. I told him that today too, and he just starts laughing. And um, I'm like, something's going on with my heel and my knee. It showed up on my scanner. Like, what's going on? So he started doing some adjustments, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, your heel was out. I was just fixing your heel. That was causing your knee pain. And I'm like, well, I know where you feel the pain. That's not where it starts. So I knew it had to be the lower back or the foot. And he's like, yep, you're good to go now. And I'm like, okay, thanks. So a lot of stuff has happened in the last 2 to 3 days. So sorry to keep rambling, but I just feel that there's so much to learn yet for me. And I've only been here for a year, but really kind of started sharing my story in the last, well, since I met you guys in September. I've kind of felt more comfortable to do it. Um, but I'm like, this is so cool. So I only say we're voodoo because my whole entire family tells me that. Um, my parents think this is crazy, but you know what? That's okay. I just let them know I'm going to run some stuff on them, and they're like, whatever. So yeah, so sorry, a ton in a short amount of time, but it's been a blessing. It's been awesome, and I love it. I'm thankful for all of you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for your excitement. That's how I feel about it when I talk to people. So, I mean, I think I talked to that lady at Panera, and what's crazy, just to give you a little bit of a backstory, she approaches Michelle and I while we're sitting at the table. She goes, "Is that your car out there?" And I'm like, "Mm-hmm." She goes, and then she started speaking, and I'm like, "I've talked to this lady before." About a year prior, I was going into Panera. She was coming out, saw my car, and stopped me and talked to me for 45 minutes out in the parking lot. Well, she talked to us again for 45 minutes. Well, today she calls me finally because I gave her the card, my card and everything, and told her what I did. She goes, "Do you have an office here in town where I can come see you?" I said, "No, I do everything remote. I told you that." So it you just never know who you're going to get in conversation with, who you can help. So I'm looking forward. She wants me to come see her next Tuesday because I always go on Tuesdays. So I'm looking forward to possibly scanning her. But she is definitely one of our people. And she was saying how she just feels like just weird things are happening to her and things in her body are not feeling right. And well, there's a lot going on right now. So you just never know who you can help with this. And I just feel like everybody needs one of these devices. So,
Amen. Amen.
anybody else like to share? Don't be shy. Just unmute.
I'll go again then.
Okay.
Um, so my youngest daughter was home 3 weeks ago, like 3 to 4 days, and I started doing the scanner on her. And um, then the next week I get hit, and I kept her home from school for a couple days to help me on the farm. And then this week, my oldest was down and out yesterday home, and I was scanning and scanning and scanning, and I'm like, oh, influenza, para-influenza, RSV, like all this is going. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I start talking to my husband about it, and I'm like, I just found out that one of the cooks at school um, has tested positive for COVID. And I'm like, huh, well, that's interesting. So I just kept scanning and optimizing, and I just kept going on with it. Like, I don't let myself rest much, I guess. So we went to the chiropractor, like I said earlier, and he checked us all RSV. And I'm like, huh, my scanner's been right this whole time. I just keep scanning and optimizing, scanning and optimizing. But I have felt pretty good besides for when I laid down, that's when it would hit me. but otherwise the girls, and I'm like, you're going to be scanning and optimizing. But they're like, I don't even know what you're doing. I don't care. Just talk to the machine. And this is what we're going to do. But they're like pulling hair. So I just broadcast stuff to them.
Very nice.
So again, the scanner, is telling me all this stuff. And I'm like, how does this know? Like, I'm still at that phase. Like, this is really cool, but really? Yep, really. RSV showed up all last week.
Yep. Yep, you'll definitely see the markers. So it's just frequencies, it's ebb and flow. So you'll see them sometimes you won't. Don't be alarmed, just work on it. Anybody else like to share anything at all? It can be on animals, it can be on your kids, it can be on anybody.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Cynthia.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and share. I took the advice, I believe it was on the last call that I was on, and you were saying, well, someone was, I think it was Sheila, to go ahead and have your family and your friends in your scanner because you never know when something's going to happen. And I was with one of my friends who was telling me something about her 3-year-old that had happened. I was like, you know what? We were on our call. I was like, let me just put him in there in case this happens again. I'll be able to scan him. So I put her son's information in there. So we went through it. I went home. Later on, we were at their house for her daughter's birthday party. And they were like, we have to go to the hospital. You could stay here, but we're leaving and going to the emergency room. So I asked her what was going on. So her son broke out with this rash. He couldn't walk. Everything was painful. And so I just already had him in there. And I told her, hey, I'm going to go ahead and start. I scanned, I optimized. And then I started kind of sending like for rash and for paint, but in minutes, like once I did the first scan, he was able to get down and he was running around like he was normal and not in pain and was just walking. And they were looking at him like, wait, he's running around. He's like, what are you doing? So, and then over that night, so they did say, yes, he has a slight rash. And I told her throughout the next night, I'm going to broadcast it all. I'm just going to put it on through the night and let it go. And that morning, I asked her how he was feeling. She was like, oh, he's back to normal. He's running around being his old self. And said that it was actually looking like it was starting to heal. And they hadn't even gotten the medication that they prescribed him. So that was just the last one. My father, who is the ultimate skeptic and the last one of my family of origin to actually try the system. And I actually had gotten in the AO pass. So he has his, and he is now about to get started. He's going to wait 10 days because of this. I said, you have 10 days or it's going to come back. But now he is more open to it and he's ready to actually give it a try. So I'm very excited.
Very nice.
Very good. And it was actually Gregory Hall that said, making sure you get all your family in there because of some things that happened in his. Make sure everybody's in your scanner because you never know when something's going to happen.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Yes, thank you so very much. Anybody else? Anybody else like to share anything?
Hi guys, it's Tamra.
Hey, Tamra.
Hey, just coming home from work, so missed the first half, but just popping on. I had a fun little response from a client who had ankle pain. She's on her feet a lot. And so I did a little half-hour massage on her feet. And I said, would you be interested in trying a Cephi dot? And she said, sure. So I imprinted it with pain and two things out of Cephi dots. And then I think I put something else out of the quantum frequency. Sent her away, told her wear it for 3 days, and she just came in last night, and I was working on someone else, and she said, for 3 days I wore that, there was no pain, and now I took it off and there's pain. I'm like, that's awesome.
So she needs her own subscription in Cephi Dot so she can do that for herself.
Exactly. So I thought
Absolutely.
that was pretty cool. So she comes back in next week. So we'll have to load her up with Steffi Dots and see what she wants to do from there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, that's my talking point is they can keep paying me a bunch of money or they can just have their own subscription and do it for themselves.
Yep. I had a conversation, I had a call today with one of my QLAs that brought in a practitioner, and she's like, well, how do you run a business with this? I said, well, the idea is to actually get this in the hands of everybody. And then if you, as a practitioner, you can just have them send you their report or send you the reports, and then you can coach and help them along. So she's like, oh, well, I hadn't even thought about that. And she has several other diagnostic or not diagnostic, but other frequency machines that she uses, but the reports are just so hard for a client to see. And she just loves the AO reports. So hopefully that's, something that she's going to put to mind. So that's something that you can do. If you're a practitioner here, get it into the hands of your people and then have them send you the scans if you're able to look at that and help coach them through it. Let them know the things that they need or, the changes they need to do. So, anyway,
Yeah, that's what I'm doing in my clinic and several of my practitioners also. It's part of their wellness package. They
yeah,
have their own subscription. They learn how to use it on themselves because for $149 a month, they're scanning and optimizing every day. They're balancing their emotions. They're reprogramming bad messaging, not just for themselves, but their spouse, their kids, their pets, all of that for $149 a month.
yeah,
And then we help with the heavy stuff.
yes, yes. That's one of the best ways to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else like to share anything? Any testimonials?
Okay, I have one.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have to give you a little bit of the backstory. When I was probably about 16, I had what I call dental trauma. I had a wisdom tooth that was impacted and they were removing it, and the anesthesia did not take. I told the dentist that the anesthesia did not take, that I could feel all of that. And he kept telling me, no, 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 that's not pain you feel, that's just pressure. And they kept going. So I'm wide awake. I can feel it. I can hear it. They're chipping it out of the bone. It was traumatic. So I hate to admit it, but now that I've overcome it, I can admit it. I haven't been to the dentist since
I don't
until
blame you.
2 weeks ago. So it was bad. I mean, I can't stand the sound of a drill, a jackhammer, any kind of thing like that. It just like, and so I've been like this. So for years, I tried to do some EFT and that kind of thing. And I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. I'm like, eventually I'll probably end up like some of my family members with no teeth, and we'll have to, deal with that later. But for right now, I can't deal with the dentist. So then came along Inner Voice. Inner Voice came along, and MindSync came along, and I started getting myself into the mindset of making the first step. So a couple weeks ago, I went for the exam. And because it's been so long, it was a really thorough exam. They were with me for about an hour and a half, did all the things, the x-rays and the poking and the scraping and the this and the that. Now, when I was young, there was a dental school in the basement of my school. I mean, there was a dental school in the basement of my school. So they used to shuffle us down there all the time. So I've got all the giant fillings in the back that are, I know these are eventually going to crack the teeth, and I'm knowing how bad they are for you from a naturopathic standpoint. So what I do in the meantime is just do a lot of, prevention, a lot of just trying to compensate for that. But the first step was to get in the dentist, because the inside of all of my teeth was, terribly stained. It's been a long, long, long time since I've had this professional cleaning. So the day that I went, I had made a MindSync the night before. I did all the health affirmations. I threw in some extra ones, specifically about this visit. And then when I got in the chair, I listened to all of my inner voice tones. I listened to it like twice. I listened to each one of those twice. And then I put on the MindSync, and I was actually okay. Like, even when they came in at the beginning and took my blood pressure, I was actually okay. Now, this is unheard of. I did not think it was going to go this smoothly. So did that, had the exam. I scheduled the deep cleaning for the next week, which was last Monday. And within that week, like, all of that charge had dissipated from it. I wasn't scared. It was like, okay, it's just time. I know this is going to be uncomfortable, but I wasn't scared. I started off listening to my tones and I ended up listening to a video on YouTube. It was like, it was nothing. And then come to find out, the dentist had only ordered the deep cleaning on half of my mouth and I needed it on the whole thing. So I had to go back the next day. So I had a 2-hour cleaning 2 days in a row. I survived. I'm here. I can tell you about it. And I'm no longer scared to go to the dentist. So over time, I'm going to start getting the other work done. So I'm super excited. And I really do think that, you know, this technology had a huge, huge part to play in that. And I didn't even take the glasses. I was going to take the colored glasses and I forgot them, but everything else was enough and I didn't even need it. So I'm just grateful and just so happy to be in the process.
You just reminded me of something because I wore my rose-colored glasses into the dentist for my procedure, and they ended up taking them off because I was already the Ativan had set in. So I'm gonna have to make sure I've got my rose-colored glasses out there.
Wow, that is
Oh,
so awesome.
And the other part is, so going from that, of course, in my head, you know, the dentist is scraping back there, you know, while he's checking, and I'm like, you know, jumping, and he's like, does that hurt? And I'm like, no, I'm just thinking about all that mercury that should stirring up, you know? And so I'm thinking about all this stuff. So I ended up doing the radiation detox that we have on there, and I did the dental detox, and I did the, you know, metals and all of that stuff. And things would come up over the next couple of days. Cerebral detox would come up and different things. So I just ran whatever scan came up, and I'm just so happy to be through this.
That's nice.
I have a question. Who orders half of a cleaning?
So they were going to do the whole mouth in terms of the basic, but they were only doing the deep cleaning, which is like they got to get in there and scrape and stuff. They were only doing that on half. The hygienist looked and she's like, I've been doing this for 20 years and I don't know why he did that because that doesn't even make sense. And I'm like, it seemed like based on the bill, it seemed like it was should have been the whole thing. Right?
Wow.
I've never heard of half a cleaning.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's interesting.
Very interesting.
Well,
I'm glad you went.
Dr. Janine has just allowed me to try to get over my fear because my situation is very similar to that. Been forever since I don't even remember when the last time I went to the dentist. It's been decades, I think. And I hadn't even thought about getting over this fear. Like I'm not even thinking about it. It's like that fear is so deep rooted in me that I just forgot about trying. So now I can say, all right, if I do inner voice, if I do mind sync, I could probably get through it. But I wasn't even thinking about that before.
Can I add something there just because of what I've been through? And I kind of shared a little bit of my story last week on my video. I have had a heck of a time with my teeth and lots of work done. In fact, I tease people and I think someone told me, oh, you got 2 Cadillacs in your mouth. And I said, no, I got 2 Rolls Royces in my mouth because of all the money I've spent on my teeth. And I have that same trauma, you guys. I've had so much done. I used to go with a napkin in my hand, and by the time I was done, you couldn't even see the napkin because I just wadded it up like this and then clenching and just in so much pain. But when you put your mind to the fact that your teeth have all, I mean, they're all connected to all the meridians and all of the different organs in our body. And if you've got some toxic materials in there, you are doing yourself a favor by going and finding a biological dentist to help you get this stuff out of your mouth so that you can really heal. So, as healers, as this community, that's what we want to do. So, just give yourself a favor and get out there and get over that fear and find you a very good dentist. And I promise you guys are going to be so much better off. And I know with this last procedure, if you get a good dentist, they're going to provide you with the things that you're going to need to get you through that ordeal. If they're a good dentist. If they're not, then yeah, you're going to have a horrible, horrible experience. But please get out there and do that for yourself. All right, rant over. Tamara, go ahead.
No rant. We've been following your journey. My goodness. So I think a couple of weeks ago, I talked about my girlfriend that was in Italy and had some stomach issues around Thanksgiving, and helped her with that. So last week, she reaches out to me and says, with your hoodoo voodoo stuff, can you help my son who is 10 years old? And then he gets on there in this cute little Italian English accent. Can you help me? And I was like, oh my goodness. She said he's been praying to God, but he doesn't feel like God is listening to him. Okay. So I'm like, I'll run a scan, set up his stuff. And in the group, I think David helped me. David and Becky helped me with a playlist and stuff, and showed a bunch of stuff. And it was V, and ran a bunch of stuff, shifted some things. He got a little bit better, still had this cough. And I sent her the reports, and she's like, holy crap, that's a lot of information, but I'm seeing this aspergillus. And I'm like, oh, and I said, well, tell me the story of how he got sick or what's going on. She's like, well, there's a bunch of stuff going on around at school, but I got this Christmas tree out from the attic, and it's a tent. So he slept under it, and he woke up the next day and said, that smell made me sick. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the fact that you saw that, and I didn't see it. I was only focusing on the last part of the report and seeing all this viral stuff come up. And then when I went up to the mold and saw a bunch of mold stuff, I was like, oh my God, that's interesting. So then switch things up. And I would say for like 24 hours straight, I ran stuff. I sent Cephis. I optimized. I did a bunch of stuff. And it was like 32 hours later, I get a voicemail from them. And he says, I feel so much better. And he still had this little croupy cough, but it was just to hear his voice change was amazing. And then I said, we should probably focus on you too, in case you get, some of this crud. And she got a little bit of the cough. And I had downloaded my supplements onto hers. So this stuff come up, and she said, Alex is upset because he doesn't have any imprints. And I said, well, I have been doing the imprints, but sending them to, so it's so cute that this little 10-year-old boy was so like interested in what was going on. And I want that too. And he goes, he said it made me feel better. So I feel like within, under 48 hours, we kicked that out of him, assisting whatever else she was doing. In Italy, didn't want to have to go to the doctor if she didn't have to, because it's not like there was no emergency. She said it would have been sitting at the clinic all day in a hallway when your child is sick is not a place to be. So she's like, I'm trying to do everything I can before we go there. So she's like, I feel like that helped and assisted it. Again, I didn't cure or heal or do anything like that, but assisted. And she was like super grateful. So
Sweet.
that was I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell the big story.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I just wow, wow, wow. First I wanted to say something about Dr. Janine sharing a dental thing and things, trauma from the past, and how that affected Dr. Daryl. And it's like, and now Tamara's helping people in Italy. And it's like, that's why we have this call, because there's so many things that people are doing, and you just don't know who it's going to hit that needs to hear it, because somebody else may say, oh my gosh, I can do that for my friend that's blah, 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 whatever. And it's like, thank you so much for sharing. I just cannot even thank you enough.
Yeah, agreed. Lauren, go right ahead. I see your hand raised.
Hi, Tammy.
Hello, hello.
I had a question. So about with like running the quick scan and then seeing any of those like detoxes populate, would you take those and then make a playlist or imprint or however you want to use them to to help whatever is going on, like if it's a dental detox or whatever shows up in that quick scan? Yeah.
I'll add a little bit to that. If you're seeing some things pop up in either your easy scan or your quick scan that are imprintable, dig a little deeper and figure out why those things are showing up. Maybe look at your scans a little bit, and see if you can kind of put those spots together or connect those dots. Because I think I have Miss Naraya on the call tonight. And if she is, she can share this, but something. Naraya, are you there? Can you unmute and share your dental thing?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but
Thank you. I'm
something that,
driving home from the office. So
okay.
I kept having my a dental detox show up, and I mean this whole time, and I had no idea what it was. I thought, well, maybe I'm brushing my teeth and something from my toothpaste is, flaring up. Maybe when I'm flossing, I'm, of irritating something that's making something show up. And so I didn't know. And so I had the fillings changed out probably 20 years ago. And so I know that, I've had the mercury taken out. So I had no idea what was going on. And I went to a dentist. I just recently changed. And they're like, do you feel this? You have this super huge infection down here. And I'm like, no, I don't feel it. And they're like poking me, jabbing and trying to make me flinch. And I'm not flinching. They're like, you really don't feel it. I'm like, no, I really don't feel it. So they sent me to another specialist, and they did this 3D x-ray, and Tammy had already run my TMJ so that I have my own from the scanner. And they were like, you don't feel this. And I said, no. And that's when I realized that's what was showing up as this dental detox for these past couple of years since I've been doing these scans. I didn't know what it was. Now that the pieces are getting put together, like Tammy was talking about your body, looking at the tooth chart, what organs are attached to that particular tooth. I've been dealing with, I didn't have super bad digestion, but it was showing up on my scans, and it's that same tooth. So I kind of mentioned a few weeks ago that, it may not be something super obvious that we like, oh, that goes with that. Oh, that's exactly that. Sometimes it's like peeling back that onion. Now I understand what that dental detox was for all this time. It's this super huge infection that now I'm starting to address.
So with her saying that's the reason why I bring that up, is because sometimes those things will pop up and you're going, I wonder why that keeps popping up, and if you'll do a deeper
Right.
dive into your reports, you may find that there is a reason why that keeps popping up. And so look beyond just the fact that, maybe radiation DTs shows up, now go into your vitals and see if, electromagnetic radiation is showing up or anything else. Those are just some, clues. And if they are, then maybe you've been exposed to something that you can kind of help, detox out of your system. But that sometimes those things are showing up for a reason. So don't just disregard it or just, oh, let me imprint that and go on. You might think a little bit about it whenever. I don't want you to overthink, but I do want you to, consider that if it keeps coming up, do a deeper dive in your reports and see if there's a reason why something keeps popping up. Does that help,
Yeah,
Lauren?
that's good. Thank you. That's a good point,
Well,
Tammy. Yeah, I was wondering, how others may use those, in that moment, that day, or if it's something that's not showing all the time, if they find it more helpful to imprint
oh,
or versus broadcasting it. I mean, everyone's different, but I was just curious how others kind of utilize that.
I have always said that if you can imprint it and wear it, you're wearing the frequency on your body. And even Lauren has said this in the past. You're wearing the frequency, you broadcast it to yourself, and then let's say you imprint your water or homeopathic. Now you're taking the frequency internally too. So you're getting a well rounded exposure to those positive frequencies, and that's what we want. So if you can do that, then do that. If not, you don't have time, then pick or choose one or two methods or one method and at least do something with it. Does that help?
That's good. Thanks. Yeah.
Me personally, I don't get too concerned about it unless it's coming up on a regular basis because every day my stuff is changing. I mean, I don't have anything really dealing with. So I will just hit imprint and just like hold it on my body because I'm in a hurry. I have a lot of things to do. I'm getting the frequency. It's a snapshot in time. If it comes up again tomorrow and maybe the next day, now I might start looking at things. But if it's just, these are the things that come up today, different things come up tomorrow. I don't pay a lot of attention. I don't put a lot of energy into it because it's just, it's nothing that's too serious. If it's coming up all the time, you take a little deeper look.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very good. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we got a few more minutes, about 5 more minutes. Anybody else have anything that they'd like to share?
Hey Tammy, this is Mariah. That wasn't particularly my share. That was kind of your share, but I do have one that I wanted to share.
You
So I
go
found
for it, Naraya.
pretty awesome. So I have been in the process of imprinting essential oils. I'm not big on medications and supplements. I don't, have a great deal of them. So with this whole dental thing, I'm like, okay, I'm really going to put these, my supplements in there. And even though the bottle may say take 2 capsules, I do 1 in the capsule, 2, 3, 4 when I put them in my scanner because I want to have the opportunity for my body to pick up, or the scanner to pick up what my body really needs. And it may not be 2 all the time. So I put something in the other night. I'm, starting to do a little bit at a time. And I put something in that I have not had for years. And so it came up and I thought, well, maybe because I was touching it. I'm very sensitive. And things like that. So I thought maybe because I was touching the bottle and reading the bottle and typing in the label. So I was like, okay, no problem. Take this one. It has come up, I think, every night, and only in the evening, for me to take this supplement. So it wasn't something that I had that was standing out that I knew I needed something or whatever. So just like when things come up on our scanner, we may not know, and it accurately points out things. It's kind of going the other way also, that, wow, even though I don't know exactly what this is in regards to, with it coming up like that and knowing and believing and then taking it, it's a really comforting thing because one time it said take 2 and the next time it said take 1. So I just want to say that, you might have things at home that could be helping you. And even though the scanner tells us a lot of things, there could be things that we have that would be in that top 6. And so it might behoove you and be beneficial to put them in because there might be something that could be better. And so that's what I found out putting those in there. I've had it come up a couple of times this past few days that things that I didn't have in the scanner are popping up. And so they're popping out the other options as being better for me. So I'm going to be, imprinting more and more and more. So you might want to kind of think about those things. We might have stuff laying around your house that could even help you more.
Yeah, very nice.
Good
Thank you.
points.
Very good point. I have so many things in my scanner. Y'all would, in fact, I need to redo it, but I'm like, okay, I didn't put them in there like I want them in there now, but there are so many ways that you can do that. So if you take things in the morning, put it in the morning section. If it's a midday, put it in the midday or in the evening. I have categories for different products, and I'm like, I need to take all that out. But anyway, it's just a beautiful way to do things. Go ahead, Lauren.
You just reminded me of something, Tammy. So in the categories, when you go in to put in a supplement or therapy, is there any way to edit like the category? I haven't been able to figure out how to edit the name of the category.
Yeah, you actually go to the blue book, which is the library, go to
Yes.
the category, and then if you want to take something out, hit the X, or if you want to edit that category, you're gonna have to take everything out and re-add the
Oh
category.
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't edit a category today, but thankfully I only had 2 things in it, so I just removed it and redid it.
Mm,
And I put a
okay.
suggestion into Solex. Can you make the categories editable too?
Yes. Okay.
All right. We
Thanks.
are 1 minute. You are welcome. We're 1 minute away from the Solex call. We're going to go ahead and end the call tonight, but please remember we have this call every week. And if Dr. Sheila and I are not available to do the call, we're asking team members if they want to step up and do the call anytime next year. You're welcome to. We'd be happy to have you handle the call and, record it and just put it up in our groups. So thank you again for being here. We appreciate each and every one of you, and please come again next week. Dr. Sheila, would you like to end?
Yep. And just what Tammy said, we love it when people jump in to cover. This is a team effort. We are here doing this together, and it is so exciting to see people pop in and they're excited to get to do things. And I still haven't got to watch last week's call, but I heard that it was amazing, and I'm watching it after Solex call. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, and let's hop on the Solex call.
Yes.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Night, guys.
Good night.